Oh yeah, shoot, too late. welcome to welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. We're talking about the poor lighting. Today we are actually not going to be talking about lighting because this is not a lighting show. This is a crypto show, if you didn't know that, but anything is possible here on the Chain. Today Ripple fights back. You know what? Payments, money, power, and Gary Gensler, that is the topic of today. Money, power, crypto, and Gary Gensler. I think Gary Gensler is pushing innovation. He's good for innovation, Chip, just not here in the US.
That's true. Good point. Good point. Ready to kick this puppy off?
I'm ready.
Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Welcome to On the Chain, everybody. As Jeff is adjusting his lighting in the background there.
How's that?
It's yeah. Well, welcome everybody, and as always, drop where you're from in the chat. If you watch it on the rewatch, which more people do, we always read every single comment. So drop a comment as well where you're from, and if you want to comment about anything you heard on the show here today on the podcast, go ahead and make a comment. We'd love to hear it. And if you want more. Anything. There's nothing off limits. Anything, Jeff. We're not gonna get crazy about that. But if you enjoy this type of content, go ahead and like, subscribe, and click that notification bell. That way you'll be notified when we drop more crypto, blockchain projects, XRP related content like you're about to see today.
Man, and Jeff, we had those nice graphics.
We do have them. Yeah, we do have them. We didn't. There you go. Bing. There you go. You guys got to throw them up there every once in a while. You see, you got to just toss them up. There it is right there.
Today they announced that we can put custom music.
Oh, that's good because I think we're going to put our own custom music up there.
Yep.
Put our own custom music. Awesome. Can you imagine? Yeah, we can have the OTC theme streaming in the background the entire time. Whoa, 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 whoa. But dude, I wanted to kick it off.
You can pull it in.
I want to kick it off on the Ripple theme here. I want to kick it off here with this. Brad Garlinghouse put this tweet out here.
There's our buddy.
There he is right there. Speak of the devil, and certainly looks a lot like the devil. He's not the devil for us. You know, the devil you know, the devil you don't know. Exactly. Brad Garlinghouse put this tweet out about the Wall Street Journal opinion that basically said that Mr. Gensler's blockade is counterproductive if his aim is to protect investors. And Jeff, we've been saying this all along, no?
Yeah, I think we have been. So I know that Brad has been listening to On the Chain because he's, getting a little bit of a hint of what's going on in the marketplace. No, I think, Brad Garlinghouse spot on. And, the big issue here, and this isn't just with crypto, Chip, because we've referenced this is across the board. Gary seems to be very anti-retail investor because everything he does is contrary to the benefit of the retail investor.
Yeah, it's like he's trying to put the thumb down on the retail and that's, I mean, if you look at their charter, their mantra, their mission statement, it's very simple. It's it's capital formation. No, that's not in there. That's not the pillar of enforcement is not actually part of their mission statement, but capital formation, but really to protect investors. And that seems to have gone awry. And that's why I think this recent EPA ruling that came down from the Supreme Court is going to have should I say it, Jeff? A ripple effect. It's going to have a ripple effect on exactly what happens. And for those of you that are outside the U.S., Supreme Court, basically somebody challenged the EPA in making laws and regulations. And turns out they don't actually have that power because that power, Jeff, is in the hands of Congress. And so if we go with that same sort of framework, then how is it that the SEC is making all of these waves with actual regulations and this and that, when clearly there's nothing to refer back to? Of course, it's all open to loose interpretation. And one thing that Congress has been very good at, and this is both sides of the aisle, the Democrats and Republicans, one thing that they've done an amazing job of, writing it very loose. They don't want to have concrete. And this is what happens when the Democrats came out and were very angry about this decision when they have all the power to exactly make it locked up and seal proof but they don't want to. They want to make it kind of loose, open to interpretation. They don't really want the responsibility of having to vote on something that's super concrete. So they kind of sometimes they pass legislation that is very loosely formed. And the second part of this, Jeff, that we should probably get into here. Hang on, what are we
Check out
doing
this
here?
commentary. I don't know why you're disappearing. The commentary from SPF here, Silhouette Park Farm.
What's up, Adam?
What is up, Adam? SEC is protecting investors, just not all of them, just the ones they want to protect.
Yeah, and I don't think they want to protect
There you
any.
go.
So I think you're being way too kind with that comment, because I don't think there's many that they actually want to protect. But Garlinghouse goes on to say, well, if that doesn't call for congressional action to stop Chair Gensler's preferred method of regulation by enforcement, I'm not sure what does. But you know what I'm pretty sure of, Jeff? I'm pretty sure that once the House and the Senate flip back over red from blue, there's going to be a lot of investigations. There's going to be a lot of hearings, and a lot of people are going to be called to task, because we've seen this overreach, and this happens around the world. The overreach, it started out, and I think what gave everybody the green flag was what happened over the past 2 years, because they're like, wow, that was pretty easy. People locked up their houses forever. That was pretty easy. And every little move that was made was really pushing the on the people. There you go. Looking better. Did something there. Looking to the point of where, people are fighting back and they're revolting. And, Brad Garlinghouse here is spot on here with, look, you just had one job out of a couple, but just protect the investor. And it's looking more and more like Wall Street buddies are protecting themselves, right? Come from Wall Street, you end up in a role like this, and guess what ends up happening? You end up protecting your pals.
That's right. And here's their mission statement. At the Securities Exchange Commission, we work together to make a positive impact on America's economy, our capital markets, and people's lives. For more than 85 years since our founding at the height of the Great Depression, we've stayed true to our mission and protecting investors, maintaining fair, orderly, and efficient markets, and facilitating capital formation. Our mission requires tireless commitment and unique expertise from our staff of dedicated professionals who care deeply about protecting Main Street investors and others who rely on our markets to secure their financial futures. How do you
That's
like
a
that?
lot.
It sounds, man.
That sounds so foreign to what they actually are doing. It sounds like it's like let's actually put together some verbiage and throw that up there, exactly the opposite of who we are and what we actually do. It's
That's
incredible.
right. Jim D, what is up? Member here on the chain. People all over are noticing that the SEC is operating more like a RICO mob, looking to extort its VIG, fourth and what is that? VIG,
The VIG, fourth and a protection agency.
Oh, to extort its VIG, fourth and a protection agency. There we go. It is acting more like a mob, and it's unfortunate that that's exactly kind of what everybody is feeling. And you know what's amazing, Chip? If you look around the world, do you know anything about any other securities exchange commission in any other country, or is it just that everybody around the world seems to know about our SEC and their failures?
Well, I don't want to make this. I don't want to. Let's not get too political here, but let's just say that everything has gone off the rails here in the United States. It's gone a little bit swung. A pendulum went a little bit too far. It's like when you're driving down the road, you try not to hit a little bird that's in the road, so you swerve one way, but then you realize you're swerving into a ditch. You oversteer, and then you just basically roll the car 16 times, or the truck.
The ditch on the other side.
To the ditch on the other side. It's filled with water, not the one that was like just right. I mean.
Nice,
and sometimes sometimes this is what happens, but this is the ebb and flow of how everything works around the world. You push a little too hard, and guess what? We, the people, sort of push back, and you can see that one thing that the SEC did not count on, and there's something else we're going to get to, another story as well, where it goes into it a little bit more as far as why the SEC is gone. Why did all of the people, the key players, leave? Why did they just bail? Why did they file it and then head out the door to their cushy Wall Street jobs and or crypto related jobs? And you always have even Jay Clayton. So you have Jay Clayton out there. He gets on these talking head shows where he's like, we've got to put regulation. We've got to do this. And so elegantly, he was called out by John Deaton. John Deaton's like, you were there. You had that responsibility. You squandered it. You basically did nothing. So to sit here and complain, it's kind of like when you have somebody who's a president of a country and they're sitting there complaining about the way things are. I hate to say this, but you're the one running the show. You're the one that has all the power, and you're the one who's basically assigning your responsibility and blaming everybody except yourself. And this is happening globally, Jeff. This isn't just like a US thing. This is kind of a global thing.
That's true. It's a global phenomenon because we are seeing this this fight, for the centralized control. They want to hold the power over the money, systems. And so I think we're seeing a lot of resistance. So it's not just here. I think we're focused on here because we are here. Everyone's getting a little bit of a look into what's going on. And, honestly, I think that the SEC and decisions out of the SEC here in the US are probably more important than the decisions out of SECs in other parts of the world. I think that because this will, end up setting a tone. And that's why people are very focused on what's happening, in the US markets, because it is critical, and as we, have the New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, and now the crypto markets, it reverberates on a global scale. But what we're seeing is that, country to country, we're seeing the resistance. We're seeing this pushback from, and we were talking about this the other night when we had Jimmy on. We were talking about the fight for maintaining power, and the big financial institutions, trying to hold what they have, and they don't want new players to come in, and unfortunately what we're seeing at the SEC level, and I think Brad Garlinghouse really pointed that out, is that they're doing everything contrary to what their mission statement really is, but that's where you're seeing the power struggle.
Exactly. And this is the pull quote that I have from that last little diatribe right there. Focused on here because we are here. And that's
good.
That's what we do, because that's what, we give it from our perspective and what we see. But I want to say there is really good news for the XRPL. And this is really fantastic. So Weitza Win put this out from XRPL Labs. And smart contracts, Jeff, is coming to the XRPL. This is very welcome news. I mean, it just continues to get better, no?
This is huge. I think this is probably one of the biggest developments that we've seen so far, because this now puts the Ethereum smart contracts on notice, as you have another big player in the space coming out. We've been waiting on Flare. We've been waiting on some other players. For this to be added, and we see a rollout, this proposal, for the XRPL, this then fulfills, much of the needs out there that XRPL can really accommodate.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I mean, it's something we've talked about, and if we go back to when Vitalik Buterin was couch surfing on one, I believe it was Stefan Thomas, who back when he was at Ripple before he started Coil, that was one of the conversations and that they talked about was smart contracts. And Ethereum was the first one to rush it out the door, get it done, and start collecting market share. But I believe probably the conversation may have come from even Stefan Thomas, or something they were actually thinking about back then. But first market mover there. But it's so XRPL put a tweet storm out here. It said, 2 years ago, we embarked on a journey to design smart contract features for the XRP Ledger. July 30th, 2020, nearly 2 years ago, we published a blog with the title, XRPL Labs is still working on the hooks amendment for the XRP Ledger, supporting business logic integration for developers. And there it is right there, a smart contract proposal for the XRP Ledger. And there's the XRPL hooks, the hooks builder. And so now what they've done is, this is really great. So they've got this, and we'll get into it. I want to roll past this, but in the past 2 years, we went through discussing, designing, documenting, building, testing, benchmarking, more building, many iterations, and resulting in the first public test net. It actually worked in early 2021. A few months ago, we silently launched Hooks testnet version 2. We're very proud to announce that we've now squashed 2 years of work into one commit and submitted a pull request to the new hooks branch of the Ripple repository. By the way, we announced that the other day that the Ripple repository is no longer in Ripple's control. It is now under the XRPL Foundation, which is also great news. Just so much good news hitting at the same time.
Dude,
right?
this is massive, and this is really what is exciting about the space. And people say, why XRP? It's not about Ripple. It's about things like this. It's about what the XRPL, will be contributing to the space. I think, everyone, when we get into the maximal, conversations and we hear, those, looking at Ethereum or Bitcoin, we have to remember we're only 12 years into this financial technology, into this new experiment, in this space, right? And so in this short period of time, look at what's been accomplished, and the XRPL continues to advance, continues to grow into what's going to be required in the future. So the future is now, as we're seeing the foundation is really being built, and and we're seeing a really solid foundation. And so without a lot of these components, the XRPL was still relatively unfinished. And you remember, Satoshi in his last email, he even said that Bitcoin, we're not finished yet. But what did that mean exactly? What else had to be done with Bitcoin, and why is it that we don't see other platforms expanding, and meaning, some of the key players like Bitcoin and Ethereum? Why aren't they continuing their development? Why we don't see significant reforms to what's going on over there, but we're seeing it with the XRPL, and I think this is probably one of the most key elements, and something that you just mentioned, the fact that it's now no longer under, it's moving jurisdiction. It's moving, who's controlling what, like the escrow. There's always a lot of pushback on escrow, but here, this to me is really impressive. I think it's really amazing, and this is why people are so gung ho about XRP, and not just, hey, it's not just about what Ripple can do. And this is where the SEC v Ripple case is so far off base, because when it comes down to it, and we look at what's going on with the XRPL, it's massive. It really is massive, and we haven't even seen the beginning yet. In terms of actual real world utility. We're, as all of this is built out, Chip, you and I have really focused in on, some of these key things. How critical, if you were to, put kind of a valuation on smart contracts, how critical is the smart contract element in terms of business at large, including financial institutions and big business?
It's vital. I mean, it's vital. And as we move closer to legislation that actually makes it legal, it's much the same way you brought this point up before with e-signs. Before e-signs, you could sign a contract that wasn't illegal. But again, we're gonna get there, and that's gonna be the next phase. And we might see that sooner rather than later. And it's gonna be the incredible vital component because of the nature of being able to execute. If this happens, something else will trigger, and you're just able to do a lot of things that are set and not controlled. It starts to get less and less about centralization, more moving towards the decentralization. Both parties agree on what will happen. You do this, I do that. The exchange of money gets triggered, and then guess what? Once it's set, there's nothing really to mess around with. And you're right; it's a vital component. Getting back to this. This tweet storm here, he says that we're ready to kick off the discussion, testing and audits to turn hooks into an amendment ready for prime time. So yeah, that's what we know that once the amendment is ready to go, then you have the validators vote on it. When they come to an 80% consensus, gets out there for 2 weeks, then we have that we're going to have smart contracts on the XRPL, and it says to allow everyone to get familiar with hooks, build them, test them, share them, break them. We're also working with the great people at Equilibrium. We're also announcing the Hooks Builder, a web-based development environment, allowing devs to build, test, deploy, trigger, and debug. And the XRPL Foundation now houses the Hooks source code, right? We mentioned a little bit earlier. Hooks Builder and all the helper libraries. You can visit the Hooks landing page containing the documentation, the Explorer, GitHub links, and the Builder. And then it's hooks.xrpl.org. one step closer to layer 1 smart contracts for the XRPL. And there it is right there. So there's the hooks builder. You can no install, WebAssembly, built-in code hinting at docs. And so they've put a lot of thought behind this. And so you can go ahead, like you said, break it, experiment with it, start messing around with it. But it's just really fantastic. There were a couple comments that I wanted to get to here. This is a good one too. We actually have something from Tim Draper. Tim Draper was spot on about what was going to happen. We played those clips pretty early on. We've been playing them for a while. And of course, they've been making the rounds again at Twitter. When he said, first of all, they discard you. It's a joke. They're not really up to something. And then they fight you. And then they, eventually they try to join you. And then they try to crush you and all this other stuff. That's not a verbatim, but it's close. Hodl the Oddle says, as an XRP investor, if you haven't gone mad yet, the chances are you're going to make it. So
that's the truth.
That's so true. And then Harry says the layer 1 smart contracts with hooks on XRPL by community builders. XRPL gets better and better. And this is, something you brought up, Jeff, in order to make some significant code changes to Bitcoin, you have to basically fork it. And that's how we got Bitcoin Cash. But it's
what people over at the XRPL to say to Bitcoin, they say, fork this.
Okay, there you go. How much? Broke Prince wants to know how much XRP do I need for my kids to buy them stupid video games. Well, that's something you're gonna have to decide for yourself.
It depends how many video games you buy them.
Yeah, it depends how many stupid video games you end up buying those kids anyway. I mean, it could be a bunch.
Do you want an arcade room?
I mean,
like multiple consoles all tied together. So you can
depends on what you want to do. And I love that
get
comment.
A game truck. Be sweet.
I love that comment.
It's a really good one.
This one here from the Digital Euro Association. Next week, we are hosting our first of many DEA Summerfests, generously sponsored by EY News, Ripple.
You got the wrong one up.
Oh, that's yours. Sorry.
There you go.
There you go. So I didn't realize you had put one up. All right. Next week, we're hosting our first of many DEA Summerfest, generously sponsored by the EY News, Ripple, and Druckerai, all set up in collaboration with FS Blockchain. We express our thanks to our sponsors who are decisively contributing to the success of Summerfest. And then,
digital Euro. What is it? What's the group?
The Digital Euro Association.
Euro Association, the DEA. I like that. But think about the Digital Euro Association, and meanwhile, the one. Some of the others, and we got the one over here in DC that's supposed to be a lobbyist for crypto, and they're so heavily focused, it seems like, on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Man, what is going on?
I don't know. Some people are happy about it, though. It's interesting that people are.
Of course, because it has Summerfest in the name. Do you see that?
Summerfest is always great. Yeah.
And Summerfest, crypto, and drinking.
There you go.
Is that?
This is the one. So the Faster Payments Council and Ripple have launched a Ripple and Payments survey designed to gauge industry perspectives on the use of blockchain and cryptocurrencies and payments. Please provide your input. So I was looking at this graphic right here. And then you have, so it says crypto and payments survey. We need your input. Yeah. And so the graphic features a basically kind of a blurrier picture of Bitcoin and some other coin, sitting on top of a keyboard, because that's what you would do when you need input from Ripple. You put a Bitcoin up there, right? So says that it's got a U.S. Faster Payments Council logo plus Ripple. So, and
that's interesting too. I mean, you think about the timing of everything when we're looking at this payment space, and you're looking at the rollout of the smart contract. You're looking at the rollout discussion on the XRPL of the e-sign, which you just referenced. Man, things are falling into place at a rapid rate, and really to contemplate, the entire process here with these financial institutions and the banks working through Ripple's RippleNet. They've kind of got a lot of it, in place, but imagine, being able to function, with these financial institutions with smart contracts and also with an e-sign to make it official and make it legal. Once that, if you can get, if you can find, and find these smart contracts and the e-signs through the blockchain, being legal, that meeting legal standard. That's, man, things are moving. It's really impressive. It's impressive to see
Impressive,
where we're
man.
at. I mean,
It's
it's
one day,
unbelievable.
Jeff. It's one day in the slice of life, and we got all this amazing news. It's incredible.
That's
And
right.
this is what it actually looks like. It's like, here it is, faster payments console.
Yes,
and
I'll participate. Of course,
let's
we'll
go.
participate.
Let's see. Which of the following best years regardless? C-level exec. Which of the following categories describes your organization's primary business? Let's go with other. Now we can go with media and entertainment.
Okay,
That's what
that's
we
good.
could here. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do that. What type of customers does your organization provide products or services for? I would say other. Consumers or other, one of the two.
Yeah, I'd say other.
Let's go with
Smart
other.
money, yeah.
What do you want to hear?
Rejected. There we go. Nice. Financial. Crypto.
There you go. Crypto podcast. We'll type in there. What country are you based in? Oh boy, here we go. Afghanistan. There you go. U.S. Country is your company headquarters in.
Aruba.
Indonesia. U.S. Does your organization provide domestic payment services for any of the use cases?
Not yet.
None of the above. Does your organization provide cross-border payments to any of the following use cases? Kind of. Not really, but let's see, none of the above.
Is there a kind of? Okay.
Do you currently own cryptocurrency? Hell yeah, we do. Do you currently own an NFT? Yes. To what extent do you consider yourself familiar with the use of blockchain? Very familiar. What do you believe the impact of blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies will be on enabling faster payments in the next 3 years? Very significant?
Non-existent. Yep. Non-existent.
Non-existent. Yeah, well, unfortunately, that's because of regulation in the SEC, but not because of any other. Do you think the use of blockchain and cryptocurrencies for payments benefits end users?
Not sure.
I say yes, of course.
Yes, of course it is.
When do you think the merchants greater than 50% will accept payment in cryptocurrencies in your region? Probably more
in the
within
next 3 years. I would say maybe 1 to 3 years.
Yeah, 1 to 3 years. It's starting to happen. Which of the following do you view as a benefit using blockchain technology or cryptocurrency for payments? Lower cost of domestic payments, lower cost of international payments, faster payment resolution. I'd say, where's all of the above? More transparency, more information.
Yeah, it's really more. It's all the above.
It really is. What do they have? None of the above.
None of the above.
Well done. Well done, Faster Payments Council. It really faster transparency, faster payment resolution, lower cost of international payments, lower cost of domestic payments.
It's everything. That's crazy.
I'm gonna take this just to make this first.
For
Which of the following do you view the largest benefits of using blockchain technology or cryptocurrency for payments?
Didn't we just say that?
Thought we just did. The largest benefit. I would say resolution.
Oh, that's interesting. So we get
which of the following do you view as barriers to your organization using blockchain technology? Where's the SEC in here, Jess?
Government.
Is there government in there? Regulatory clarity?
Oh, yeah, there we go. That's, I think, one of the biggest ones.
Yeah, it might have just been easier to put the SEC. You could have found it a lot faster. Which of the following do you, Gensler, which of the following do you view as the largest barrier to your organization using blockchain technology for payments?
A.
Yeah, it's always a B. Which of the following do you think the use of the blockchain and crypto technology for payments provide your organization? Jeff, this is getting too tedious for me. I'm not going to lie. It's getting a little.
This is really.
It's like stop asking me the same question over and over again.
And what's the outcome?
Jeremy Hogan put this tweet out yesterday.
Crap.
He said,
I gotta throw this up. Look at this. I don't think we can pass on that.
Holy cow! Wowza! Whoa!
Jen Lin.
Holy cowza!
Holy cow!
That's a whopper of a
massive.
Thank you.
XRP SEC issue is fake. I have been hacked by powers letting me see that the world is getting ready to change because of XRP fake news will not happen again. World leaders on board. We are moving to blockchain, DAO, fractal governance, fractal economy, total transparency. XRP will be used. So buy EOS, BTC, XYO, more equal animals.
So let's break that down. So the issue is fake. Okay, so that's interesting. I'd like to see some follow up on that. I have seen this making its rounds, though, Jeff. I have seen that a lot of this, talking about the show, people. You remember that it leaked out on Yahoo News that there was a settlement. You remember that? And they said, "Oh no, that didn't happen. It was just." But one of the things that, for me, just coming from parts of that industry, especially understanding the court dockets, understanding how dockets work, they're all public. There are no secret dockets, and unless it's filed on a docket in a court which is public in the U.S., then it doesn't exist. Now, I'm not aware. Now, it's saying it doesn't happen, but I'm not aware of it because people have suggested something else going on in the Supreme Court that has also been filed in a secret docket. And again, I've kind of searched for this, but I have seen this come up, and I have seen this thought process where this is all a big show, a big delay tactic until things are ready. And whether that's true or not, it's an interesting thought process. Certainly we had another stream of consciousness on the other night. We had Jimmy Valley, and he was explaining, because I thought a lot of people missed the whole buyback, and he really did a phenomenal job at helping people understand what that was about. They're like, "Oh, that can't happen," but you're talking to a guy who's a securities attorney who did incredible mergers and acquisitions. That's why I read his bio, so people can understand who Jimmy Valley is in the space. He's not just some guy that was on Twitter making some weird allegations. This is somebody who lived this. So this, what we just saw. Okay. Jen Lynn says, "You're welcome. It's important information that everyone needs to take seriously. Be prepared for a big announcement." I would welcome that announcement. I'm not going to lie to you, Jen Lynn. I think we would all welcome that with open arms. Like, if that announcement came down, I don't think. And Jeff, you and I had a bet about a settlement. If that would happen, that's a bet that I would probably be happy to lose.
Yeah, the thing is, I still don't think we're losing that bet. I think we're gonna have a beautiful steak dinner. But
I'm going back to meat, by the way, for that steak dinner.
That's right. That's right. But this is really a critical point in time, and it's interesting to look at the timing of things. I don't know, the case, SEC, v Ripple, exactly, all of the timing of it was very odd, and you and I have referenced this, multiple times, that, Jay Clayton dropping the bomb, on this case, the day before he leaves, after all the time where there was very limited to no activity in the space, from the SEC. There was a lot of ignoring or avoiding the topic, but the timing of it was bizarre when he left to do that. The timing of it's bizarre with a new administration coming in. The timing of it's bizarre with Gary Gensler coming in. There were a lot of things that just didn't, connect.
Not
but the
at
big
all.
one is, and so I just had to throw that up.
Mr. B is he's always in the background lurking.
He's always
That's who we have the
lurking.
bet with. And Coining 203, Alex.
And he's looking forward to Burn's Steakhouse, and we're looking forward to the dessert room. But it's gonna be outstanding. But yeah,
no matter what happens, we'll both be celebrating. Can we admit that?
Jen Lynn, Biden Harris fake, AOC meeting fake, Ukraine war fake.
There's a lot of allegations of fakeness going on here, man. Because I think we're living in a simulation.
Inconsistencies. Yeah, there's a lot of things that just don't add up anymore, that don't make sense. And those are topics for a different show that we could really dissect and get into. But man, there's just so many abnormalities that just don't make sense.
There's a good day, Mr. B. Good day. I love how they say good day. Good day. Good day. Yeah. By the way, if you guys aren't subscribed to Silhouette Park Farms, I watch the channel quite often. There's just always interesting stuff going on in their world and their family and their farm and stuff. But man, especially when he's doing cooking, Jeff, I'm telling you, man, it's like good stuff. And you see something being cooked up on an open fire there.
Stuart Hinman emails next week. They do not want those. They don't want to release them. It's a key point that may force the SEC to negotiate a settlement. Yeah, it's kind of a crazy situation that we're in. But I like the point that you made, Chip, also with the timing of it, based on the comment, from Jen Lynn. It is interesting, the delay tactic, because the pieces aren't in place right now. the big institutions moving into crypto, just in general, whether, we're looking at through through XRP or any of the other assets, it seemed like they want to portray like they got caught with their pants down. But, to that point, financial institutions, they look, far into the future and the power struggle chip. I don't believe that they got caught with their pants down. I think they have been orchestrating in the background, looking for entry points, and looking for, ways to kind of manipulate, control the system. And I also believe there's multiple powers at play right now, both from a political and economic perspective. And we're seeing that battle kind of play out. And
Well,
I think it's very obvious.
yeah, I mean, if you have the only way there will be a settlement, and if you have them in the death grip lock, and what you do is you just continue to go on. If you're the one that's bringing the case with the SEC, if you know you've got a locked up, beautifully solid case, you move with expediency. You do not delay. You do not, well, we have to this. You not fight the release of documents if you have a really strong case. If you don't, this is what you do. And so the only way the Garlinghouse said, because they tried to settle 2 times before, the only way that they would settle is if they said today's XRP not a security. Now, would the SEC be willing to do that? And if they are willing to do that, they basically give up on all their power and all their enforcement of anything else. So I don't see a guy like Gary Gensler doing that. It's one thing to say you lost one case. It's another thing to say you're going to lose all future cases. So that's why I don't believe it. Would I be happy if it happened? I would. But unless they come out and say today's XRP is fully decentralized, much the same way other digital assets are, I wouldn't believe it. And this is a really good timing. I want to switch up. We're going to show Jeremy Hogan, but I wanted to go through this tweet by John Deaton. He said, I recommend rereading the Grundfest letter now that we know so much more. It's very enlightening to reread the letter now that we have so much more context and knowledge about the lawsuit and why and how it was filed. A few more things will jump out at you. For example, when Grundfest discusses the mass exodus of the senior leadership of the SEC after filing the case, he notes, the directors of the divisions of enforcement, corporate finance, and trading and markets have all been deeply involved in the decision to basically file the suit. Deeply involved says a lot. It means all these people were the ones pushing for the lawsuit as they were walking out of SEC's doors forever.
Yep.
Think about that for a minute. Now, why would those individuals push the most significant non-fraud SEC enforcement action since Howie and then just bolt out the door?
Makes no sense.
Who are we talking about who left? Jay Clayton, the chairman, Bill Hinman, the director of corporate finance, Mark Berger, the director of enforcement, Bruce Redfern, the director of trading and markets. Clayton's firm, Sullivan and Cromwell, represented Consensus, which we are all aware of, and and Joe Lubin, and brokered the Quorum, which is the JP Morgan deal, a direct competitor to Ripple and XRP. Clayton then goes on to One River with its $1 billion bet on Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then Clayton voted to bring the case and then filed it on his last full day. A lot of improprieties going on here, Jeff. Bill Hinman didn't retire from Sullivan and Cromwell. Was it STB? Was that Sullivan and Cromwell? Yeah, per the SEC ethics chief, and he collected his $15 million from his ongoing partnership at STB, a member of the EEA, while at the SEC. Remember, he said it was retirement benefits, but he didn't retire. So that's a little weird, questionable there. Hinman agreed to give ETH the free pass requested by the EEA law firm from Perkins Coie, which was hired by Andreessen Horowitz. That's A16Z. And then we now partner and is now a partner at Andreessen Horowitz. Berger, the director of enforcement, helped write the grossly overboard complaint, absurdly alleged that all XRP, including secondary market sales of XRP independent of Ripple, are unregistered securities. He was made a partner at STB, a member of the EEA. So you see, people get rewarded for their their evil doings here, and there he is, right there. SEC enforcer behind the 1.3 billion Ripple lawsuit stepping down. There's the it was an article in Forecast News, and then Bruce Redfern, a banker for JP Morgan, before going on to the SEC. I'm starting to see a pattern here, Jeff. All these Wall Street guys. He left days after the lawsuit as well. In March of 2021, he was hired by who, Jeff? Coinbase. That's right. He resigned after 4 months. He resigned, or they said, dude, this ain't working out. Get out of here. There are more nuances if you pick up on rereading the Grundfest letter. And of course, he puts over at Crypto Law, there's a link to it. But when you think about how significant digital currencies are, Bitcoin, CBDCs, it's not hyperbole to call the SEC v. Ripple case X/XRP the most significant non-fraud enforcement action since 1946. And Jeff, I think it's key to really key in on this too. We talked about this too. It was one when we had John Deaton on the week after he filed this back in 2020, early 2021. There's no fraud alleged here. They bring this 80-page complaint letter. There was no fraud. They did this. They were out of, they used all these superlatives and adjectives that they were, but again, there's no fraud alleged. So what's the point? So it's a non-fraud enforcement action. Who files a case of this magnitude and then leaves? They all left.
And then leaves. They all left. Yeah. I mean, the timing was interesting. It also, they were either, teeing it up for Gary Gensler coming in because there are a lot of things happening in the background, another Wall Street guy, and so the orchestration, the power struggle, and think about how, did they ignore Bitcoin, for 10 years before they spiked it? Looking at all of this, or, what exactly and who exactly is Satoshi? Was it a departure? Was it the other side? Are there multiple parties that are competing on a global scale, that we'll never acknowledge? And it's so amazing because we look at a lot of this stuff and you say, oh, that, all of this gets into conspiracy theories. I know you like investigating, these, discussing conspiracy theories, but at some point you start looking, you say, holy cow, look at all these things unfolding. And a lot of this stuff becomes truth. It no longer is some, conspiracy theory that someone, is sitting wearing a tinfoil hat trying to figure out. And all this stuff, all of a sudden, the one thing that we acknowledge is that there's no such thing as a coincidence, right? That when it all starts lining up, and there's still an unknown variable here. Well, there's a bunch of unknown variables, and let's start it with Bitcoin and Satoshi. Who is it? Why was it created? And what's the motivation, and who's really in control of it? And then as we kind of unfold, then you get into some of the other assets. Ethereum, who's potentially behind it? And was it really just Vitalik? And now as we see, all the other things that you just read in that last tweet, and it can all, then it goes to the SEC v. Ripple case. Why? The timing is bizarre. The resignations are bizarre. The switch over to a new administration, and some other, people that are sitting there in Washington, and all these things just, don't mesh. It's very, very strange, because, I don't know that we necessarily see all of this stuff, so clearly, throughout history. We can go back and look at some of the other behind the scenes power struggles, and maybe we see the outcomes. And Chip, you and I also brought up FTX, and I'm not saying that there's anything, bad or indifferent about it, but, how did that come up into being in such a short period of time as one of the top players in the industry? Was it all about Sam Bankman-Fried, or is there, who else is behind that organization, with FTX, that is in a position now to start buying up entities? What exactly is going on in this space? It's just, I don't know. I think there's just some very big question. there's a lot here.
It comes down to what we said early days. Follow the money. If you follow the money, it's so funny. I mean, you go back to Roman times, you go back to the Roman Empire, you look back to the corruption. It's all about money and power. Sometimes when you have all the money, someone like a Chair Gensler is worth $120 million. You're not working for money anymore. You're working for the power, for the glory, for the legacy, for the largest and non-fraud enforcement case ever in the history of the SEC. That's what you're working for. I love this comment by Jackie. She says, I had a lady come into my store in little North Carolina town wearing an XRP t-shirt. Made my day. She noticed my XRP license plate. How cool is that, Jeff?
That's really, really cool.
Pretty amazing. And then, so I wanted to,
never know.
Getting back to Jeremy Hogan, he put this tweet out. He said this a couple of days ago. He on the 5th of July, he said, "I think Judge Netburn will rule on the Hinman emails this week, mainly because motions to strike expert witnesses are due next week, Tuesday. Speaking of which, looking forward to Ripple's motion to strike the expert report of Mr. Duty. It should be a doozy. A duty's a doozy. Say that fast, Jeff. Duty, a doozy.
We talking about Mr. Duty again?
Yeah, Mr. Duty again. So that's the SEC's expert witness, which worked in the other case. No, we're not smelling so good over here, Jeff. See what I did there? It's not smelling so good.
It definitely doesn't smell
not
good.
Passing the sniff test.
It doesn't pass the sniff test.
So
Mr. Duty.
So Jeremy Hogan put this out last night. He says, "I am very sorry, everyone. I tried the Jedi mind trick Judge Netburn into releasing the Hinman email order today. That was yesterday. On Friday," he says, "but apparently my powers are weak, like the older Obi-Wan Kenobi. At least I have Tuesday, and I can go over 120 pages of briefing to look forward to. Have a great weekend." And then he put this one up. The first panel reads, "Why can't you email a photo to a Jedi?" And the second panel reads, "Because attachments are forbidden." So I thought that was
oh my god, that's
some funny stuff there too. And then Jeff,
hey, we got to step it up here, Chip. RPM is saying follow the money. That means follow the debt, follow the wealth and assets. That's the right statement there, Chip.
Yeah, well, there's also well, it's not like Jeff and I don't go down rabbit holes. It's just that there's things you can say, things you can do. Just leave it at that. Look at this right here, Jeff. So a groundbreaking tweet for the first time ever. This was rolled out the day before. This was rolled out, and I think it was actually rolled out yesterday. But this is a code tweet, Jeff. And when you and I have to try this, you can actually invite somebody to tweet with you. And so this is the first one.
New? I've never seen
something brand new. Is just rolled out. I had to go investigate it, but this is a code tweet. It's of course, David Schwartz being the first at everything, but this is and nbougalis put this out. This is a code tweet, and you can see it's got two people there, and it shows both of the people. And yeah, okay. What sorcery is this, says Moonchaser. And somebody else had commented here. There's James Rule. Boom, explosion in the head. I tried to read the tweet twice. If you follow both of us, you're required to read it twice. Once in my voice and once in his. So, David Schwartz and his humor, his funny ass humor there. So yeah, Jeff, why don't we have to try that? We have to try that, Jeff. We
have to do it. That'd be cool.
We have to try this. I wanted to throw this.
We don't try everything David Schwartz does, because we don't convert digital assets into solar panels.
We have not done that. As of yet, right? We have not.
Not as of yet.
We've not done that as of yet. I wanted to share this one here, and so I put this tweet out. This is like a follow-up type of thing. Let me turn this up, and this is Cynthia Lummis being interviewed. Let me know if you can't hear it, Jeff, but you should be able to.
Can't hear it.
I do think that Bitcoin is here to stay, and I think a lot of the others are not. The fact that Bitcoin is fully decentralized and that some of these others were issued by a person or an entity that kept a large block of the coin for themselves and then issued others to participate means they look more like a security than a commodity.
See, Jeff, this is why this is why a little bit of knowledge in the hands of our senior officials is a really bad idea.
It's dangerous. Yep.
It's a very dangerous thing.
Doing there?
She missed she missed exactly what decentralization is all about. She doesn't understand what first of all, and again, Matt Hamilton, like I have a tweet with him, it kind of like explains everything, but what does this have to do with anything? I mean, the fact is she's like, and because she goes to the BTC maxis, she's a Bitcoin maxi herself. She thinks it's the only truly decentralized asset. That's not what makes an asset decentralized. The decentralization comes from the core part of the asset itself. The XRPL is decentralized. Ripple does not control the escrow. They do not control anything that's going on with that. There are rules and regulations set by the validators. And so it's ridiculous that she says this, Jeff, but let's listen in.
Bitcoin is clearly a commodity. It is digital gold. Bitcoin is the standard.
And I said, well, Jeff, I fixed it. So I said, XRP is the standard, number one, first of all. So you don't be borrowing language from our community. I fixed that. But I wanted to get into Yeah, so
Yeah.
I said Senator Lummis clearly doesn't grasp decentralization. Regarding Ripple, the country is centralized.
Company.
A company centralized, XRP, the XRPL are decentralized. We're talking about the asset, not the company. And then Scams Are Bad said, well, no, XRP, the asset's not decentralized since Ripple owns the majority of it. The XRPL is not decentralized either due to the way the UNLs work and the fact that Ripple defaults their UNL in the code, which they are the sole maintainer of. They are not the sole maintainer of it. And then Matt Hamilton came in. Thank God for the FUD buster of all, the greatest FUD buster in the world. Matt Hamilton, former Ripple, said, Ripple owning the majority of XRP means nothing. It is not a proof of stake network, so it gives them no control. The majority of it is in escrow, so they can't dump it. The community can vote to burn Ripple's holdings. And this is what we've heard before from David Schwartz. Somebody had this. Sam Ross says, thank you for that. He says, Sam Ross, Bitcoin is garbage. That's what he says there.
Yeah, this is the problem, and you make a really solid point. And the thing is with government officials, and sometimes it looks like they're in favor, sometimes they're against, but they don't always have the full knowledge. Sometimes we look and say, oh look, they're talking about cryptocurrency, they must be on our side. Kind of like with Gary Gensler, everyone was so rah about Gary Gensler and the fact that he taught a course at MIT.
MIT, Jeff.
MIT. But we know how well that turned out. That was devastating. Because he, does he know? Does he care? But there's another example, like you said with Lummis. The lobbyists need to work overtime to get the information out there. But obviously, the Bitcoin lobbyists and the Ethereum lobbyists are much more powerful on Capitol Hill than across the board. And she just is very, she is going to state only what the lobbyists are telling her to state. So she's done her research up to a point. She hasn't done full research, and she's making statements that are based on incorrect logic. It's unfortunate, when we see stuff like that, Chip. And that's gonna last, for a long time. However, I should say that her legislation that was presented was more evenly balanced because it didn't single out one asset. The fact that she makes those statements in public, a little bit troubling.
Look at Jim D says, brilliant. Centralized government whining about the fears of centralized XRP. Oh, Jesus. That's fantastic.
Love it. That's
Jeff, I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you a graphic that is embarrassing that I didn't make this graphic, but I plan on making a better graphic, because if I was going to make a graphic, I would definitely have chosen a different font. And it's basically a point that I bring up often about Bitcoin maxis believe that there's only one. That's why they're maxis. They believe Bitcoin's the only decentralized one. And I've always likened that to the stock market and saying that, Microsoft or Tesla or Apple, that's the only stock, everything else. And so this guy made I don't know who this is, Jessquit 2, but I commend him for making this graphic. And there it isn't right there. Wait a minute. You know why, Jeff? Because I had to share the audio. And then, so let me go back into this here. So he shared this, a cool graphic here, how Bitcoin maxis view the stock market. You can see there's Apple. That's a company. Then you got Microsoft. That's an alt company. Then you got alt company, Google alt company, Amazon alt company, Tesla alt company, Facebook alt company. It's so funny. Visa, everything else is an alt company. Brilliant graphic. Why didn't we make this, Jeff? I don't know why.
Yeah,
but
we should have made that. We've talked about that a million times.
We talk about it,
listening to the show. So.
But that is how you illustrate this in, again, and if you look at it by market cap, you see that Apple 2.84 is the number one by market cap. That's the company. Everything else, alt companies,
it's
right?
An alt company. Alchemist said fake stocks, I'd assume.
Oh, yeah, fake. And the funny thing about it is that
all centralized. What do you know?
All centralized. I'll just say that every single one, everything is centralized. It's like incredibly decentralized story here. It's amazing. But I love that tweet. I think that's great. I would love to do it. Tim Draper, we mentioned him earlier in the podcast, but Tim Draper had this. Let me talk about the story first. So MarketWatch put out the Fred's Brainerd says crypto crash shows urgent need for regulation. The recent crash in crypto prices and the ensuing failure of several large digital asset lenders, funds, and brokers highlights the urgent need. No, that's called market forces. Okay, that's what it's called. It's called, because this happens in the stock market. This happens with companies every day, all day, especially in the penny stocks. They're great, they're great, they're great, and then they're gone. And there's nobody, crying about that. And you have Draper says it's this kind of government control based thinking that is driving innovation away from the USA. We need hashtag freedom and hashtag trust, not more regulations. And this is the article here. Look at this. We don't need more regulation. And when the previous administration was in there, one of the things that they did was they got rid of regulations. For every new regulation, they got rid of 2 other ones. And what did they do?
Spot on.
They made it a lot easier for, it used to be that if you wanted to put a new road in or a bridge, it took years. They cut that from 5 years down to like months because of these ridiculous regulations. There's too many, everyone knows the old saying, too many cooks in the kitchen spoils the broth. And we got some spoiled broth.
So true.
Jeff.
We've got, it's rotten to its core, and that's true. There's already laws on the books. And what do? They add more laws to the existing laws because they forgot about the first laws that they created. And so that's where you get overzealousness of regulation. It is amazing though, Chip. You think about it, that you have all these elements within government that are so concerned about the decentralized nature of the crypto space, where they're so heavily focused on the centralized control and centralizing control. And it's kind of crazy. It really is. So
Sophie says, need more coffee, guys. I second that sentiment. It says, everybody have a great day. Smartest people in crypto visit here. I learn something all the time. Hit the like and subscribe if you're down with OTC. Thank you, Sophie. Appreciate you being a great supporter and a great contributor to the show. Have a great day. Get some more of that coffee.
Hey, Jen Lynn was saying, how do you buy XRP in the USA? And Uphold, BitTrue. Somebody else had said there's another DAO or a decentralized exchange out there, to get some XRP asset from. But man, lots going on over here. So also says here, also all corporations will be set up on a DAO. So stock will transition to token. So we get the tokenized securities. So buy stocks as they will be fractionalized on the DAO. One share could become 1,000 shares. And that's a really interesting
that's going to
point
happen
as well. We're starting to see that migration, and that is going to change the financial structure, hodl on XRP, on XRP.
Yeah, you can do. You also buy it on XRP. I think it's on XRP. Somebody had a question earlier about what do we think about being able to buy with MasterCard or Visa on XRP. Let me get the website here.
That's why Kelly Slade is saying Apple Pay. You can now buy XRP in the US. So interesting. I've never used on XRP, so I can't really say anything much about it. But there are multiple locations.
I want to get those guys on here, though. I definitely want to get them on here because I like what they're doing in the space. They came out of they very quickly. Yep. You created an NFT marketplace, but here's on XRP right here. There it is. It's on XRP.com. There you go. And they're doing a lot in the space. Jeff, there's one other story I wanted to get to here. There's a couple we never get to, but this one here came out from GlobaliD. Look at this here.
It's new and
on XRP. It's new and it works. Beautiful. In order to achieve our vision of owning your identity and your money, GlobaliD is transitioning to a non-custodial wallet solution. And this may effective July 15th, the custodial GlobaliD wallet powered by Uphold will be removed from the GlobaliD app. Your funds will still be accessible directly through Uphold's website or app. The debit card programs tied to Uphold's wallet, including the GlobaliD and XRP Rewards debit cards, will also end. So if you have additional questions, please reach out to us. But in line with their mission, it makes a lot more sense to go to a non-custodial wallet solution versus this is actually a pretty cool development. Again, there's so many great developments, Jeff.
Sam Ross saying, what do you guys think about all the people willing to sell XRP at $10? Why is that a target? I don't know if that's a target. It's just an easy round number to talk about, basically stating that, if people are buying in that 25-cent range or under, once it hits, certain, plateaus, that's where you're going to get a good number of people. They're just going to sell. They're going to take their profits and move on. I think that's probably a reality, and I think you're going to see that as with any asset. and I think, a lot of people, in this space have sold assets at a certain point where they say, "Hey, you know what? I've made my margin. I don't know if this thing is going to keep going up just based on, history." And so they sell. And I think that's why everyone's using that $10 mark, Chip. What are your thoughts? Because, you look at
Yeah,
some others, I know.
I think you nailed it. I mean, I honestly, it's an easy number to talk about. If 384 is the all-time high, yeah, you're looking at almost 3 times that, and people want to be able to pull a profit because remember, a lot of people have never sold any XRP. They just have been accumulating all these years, and
Yep.
we've been through some really rough times up and down, and so they may want to dump some of that. And what I like is that give people the freedom to control what they own and their money. And that's what's great about it is like they get to decide. We don't want a government entity choosing for them, but if that's where they want to go, hey, all the power to them. I commend them.
That's why Hydroponics Alan is saying, Sam, most of us have been holding XRP since 10 to 15 cents, some around 40 cents, which right now you can you can stash up around 30 cents. But so to 100x your money is a sensible way to start taking profits. And I think that's really,
Exactly. Well
the
said.
bottom line, and one other statement here, Ralph Cooper, anything new with Ripple case? Are we still kicking the can? I think the can is being kicked.
It's being kicked, but but again, I think the more I see of this case, Jeff, Ripple
Yeah.
is in control. Ripple it really has this one. They've got great attorneys. You saw that last call that we were on, just the hapless attorney. It's not really no fault of her own. She was kind of you're giving a bad deck of cards, and you're trying to make something great out of it. It doesn't matter what that's what the old S on Shinola, Shinola on S, that whole thing. Just you can't polish a turd, Jeff. You can't do it. And to throw a new attorney in there when the other ones have said, I'm kind of out of here. I'm not going to represent the case. They're done. So
SEC is awesome. Jim D. Ralph, kicking the can is the only medical procedure we know to both inflation and impotent government. There you go.
One last thing before we get out of here. I want to put this up here. So Ben Armstrong, known as Big Boy Crypto, he said, if you were hurt by the Celsius network and had 6 figures or less in damages, next week I'm going to have a way for you to join the fight in recovering your money or Monday, whatever, your Monday. My fight against them is almost buttoned up now, so it's time to help everyone else. What? So, I guess this is the old.
Mean? Has anybody lost anything yet at Celsius? Have people been stopped out of their loans or anything where they couldn't?
Well, we don't know that.
To top up.
I'm not sure about that, but he says he's been fighting back, so his fight with them is almost over, or buttoned up. So he's obviously taken some kind of legal action or done something. This is where you're, the oxygen mask comes down, you put it on yourself first, and then you go help others. But at least he's extending it out there to try to assist and help others. And
his fight is almost buttoned up. What does that mean? That he's that
would be some kind of, I would say, legal action.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what that means.
What does that mean exactly? What does that mean? Buttoned up.
Nobody knows exactly.
It's
hard to know.
Why not be clear? Just say, hey, we've got a mass case against Celsius, because of damages that he may have actually incurred. But that's the question. I would like to know, maybe we can get some feedback from people if anyone has been hurt yet from what's happened over at Celsius, because as it stands right now, people have their assets locked up.
Correct.
We still can't pull assets out of Celsius, but yet every Monday they're still paying interest. For those who have had it in, they're still paying the asset interest. So what is the outcome here? Is that considered a damage if you can't access your funds? Can you sue to get access to your fund? Even if it's in their terms and conditions that they can lock you out like this, has anybody been, and that's what I would like to know, anyone who's taken a loan, if they force them because of the drop in the market, are they forcing them to top up, even though they can't close out the loan? There's certain things. So that's what I'd really want to know. Jim D is saying that BitBoy is toast. They rug pulled him. So I don't.
Who knows, Jeff? We'll find out.
I don't know. I'd like to know more. I want to know more.
We'll definitely find out. But anyway, guys, look, if you're new here, please like, subscribe, and click that notification bell, especially if you're a big time supporter of On the Chain. Sometimes you get watching the content, you forget to hit that like button. The like button does help suggest OTC to other people and suggest other videos. But again, we appreciate everybody coming here. So go ahead and subscribe, click that notification bell. That way, you know. And you can also get out there and follow us on Twitter at @on_the_chain. Follow us up on Twitter. We put a lot of the show up there and everything else. And again, all I can say is everybody today, thank you for your support. We do really appreciate you guys. We appreciate you coming in here. And of course, that massive support today from Jen Lynn. Thank you for that. That was very well appreciated and beautifully
Sam
done. Thank
Ross,
you so much.
and all of
Sam
our,
Ross.
On the Chain community. So
Everybody else that contributed, either whether however you contribute, but
however you contribute with commentary showing up. We love everybody here. It's amazing. We have a great chat here. And as Alchemist said, always remember, not your can, not your garbage.
There you go. Which is good. It's good. That's another good analogy there. But that's all. That's all. Jeff, you have anything else before we get out of here?
It's all I've got, Chip. We got the best and the brightest.
Best and brightest here at On the Chain family. Thank you guys. You guys have a great rest of your weekend. Back tomorrow night. And that's all I have.
See you on the next one.
Jeff and Chip out. See you guys.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.